Hello everybody and welcome back. Another short update about the Altair Again, and yeah, this is going to be a little bit more complicated than the ones before because there's a lot more to show. First of all, this shouldn't go to sleep. And okay, first of all, I did complete more work on the controller board, which is now in the back of here. It still only has the Teensy on it and a driver chip for the 3.3 volt to 5 volt conversion, but I now have the keyboard hooked up and the VGA output, and you can already see that the VGA is running and it's saying Altair 8800. I did do another rework on the board because I forgot to put the pull-up resistors for the keyboard onto the PCB. Some keyboards need them, others don't. The keyboard that I'm using right now needs it, so I thought I'd add it because I wanted to run with as many keyboards as possible. Also, I ran into some issues with my PS2 controller code, which didn't work out very well on the Teensy, especially since it now has another port layout and it needs the drivers to talk to the keyboard. So most of the keyboard reset and keyboard initialization didn't work, and I had to put in quite a lot of time to get that working again. And so right now we have the Teensy started. We have everything connected. The Altair is in reset. We can just reset it again. And what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try and load, I don't know, let's try and load CPM. So we'll do a disk load for disk 1. And do that. You can probably not read it, but I got the confirmation that that worked out. Then we're going to start the disk loader. And yay! So what you now see is CPM running, and on the screen, I hope you can read it. I'll try to put the focus on that. You can see we have the prompt from CPM. Now this is all pretty much hot wired in the software. So everything going through the normal serial I/O from the emulation to the serial port 1 will also be displayed on the VGA screen. There's no terminal emulation in there. There is no management. Basically all that it does is it can scroll. It doesn't have anything else yet, but it works, and the picture is a little bit jittery, but I don't think I'm going to change it because I like it to be that way, because it reminds me of some of the very early Z80 and 8080 PCs that would actually blank the picture when you did anything, when you entered code or when you ran software, it would actually blank the display because it needed the processing time. Okay, now what also works is if we now take the keyboard, we can actually type stuff, or I thought we could. Why isn't this working? Oh, that's... Well, I guess I didn't make any donations to the demo gods. Let's try to fire this one up again. Take it down. Get it back up again. It says it does have a keyboard. We'll do the same thing again. Load disk 1. Start the bootloader, and the keyboard is not working. Why is the keyboard not working? Well, it should be working. We can try it with basic, but I don't think that would make any difference. So let's stop this. Let's reset this. The problem is that the keyboard doesn't initialize when the system first comes up. It only gets one chance, and if it doesn't come up, it will run without the keyboard. Let's try something else. Nope, no keyboard. Well, so here's one for lessons learned. Don't disable the code you want to demo. Let's do all of this again. So we are going to select loading a disk, and we're going to load disk number 1, which is CP/M. Then we start the disk bootloader, and we get CP/M. So right now CP/M is running, and I hope that the keyboard is working now. It was just working, and we can see all the output we're expecting. We can see our blinking lights, and the keyboard and the VGA screen are supposed to make up a terminal. Nothing more right now. And let's just see if it works. Das gibt's doch nicht. Krieg die Krise. Okie dokie. So, fourth take. I think it's working now. I believe the issue that I was facing here was that the startup time of the teensy microcontroller can be substantially different depending on the hardware that you have connected. And if it starts up within the first 1200 milliseconds, there will not be enough time to initialize the keyboard. So the keyboard controller will not be ready, and it will detect the keyboard as missing. So, okay, here we go again. Same thing as before, the keyboard is hooked up, the monitor is hooked up. I am going to try to load CP/M. And then start it. Here we go, we've got CP/M. Now we have the prompt over here. I'm now using putty over here as the terminal, and we can see that we have a prompt on the VGA monitor. We can see that the emulation is running, and I will try to type Dirk. Yeah, it's working. And we get the output. There's no formatting, and the screen is of course really small, but that's the way I wanted it, because if we do Dazzler emulation or something similar, we don't need a really big resolution of the screen. And we're also really starting to run out of memory on the teensy with this, so this is a really tight fit. Okay, now this works. Like, I can run the demo program. What's your name? My name is Dirk, and it'll say hello Dirk. That is all this program does. We could also run more complex programs like ladder, for example. And what we're going to see here is all the formatting, because the formatting does not work. So we get all the raw text, the escape sequence, and everything that was there before. While we can see that it is perfectly running on the VT100 terminal that Putty is using, which is kind of cool. So if we run the game here, we can actually see the game running over here, but way too fast because I haven't enabled CPU throttling over here, and we can see all the codes that are being sent to the terminals because they're output in raw format here. So things like Control C even work. If I do exit, it exits. So the keyboard emulation is pretty good, but I don't have any screen emulation yet. And screen emulation is really, really complex if you want to do it in a small space. So I'm looking into that now, and I've looked at some sample code. But the sample code has the backside that most of the sample code that I found is under a license that basically makes it impossible to put it into my code. So I might have to try and do something really simple myself. But I think I can get that running in some way or the other, at least to the point where it's barely usable. So yeah, that was it. That was the demo. Obviously, my contribution to the demo gods wasn't good enough, but I did find a major bug in the keyboard initialization code, which was really easy to fix. You just need to wait for long enough until you try to initialize the keyboard, which actually means just reading the milliseconds from the CPU over and over again. Once you're about like 1750, then you're good to go. So simple fix, really stupid problem, but it now appears to be running fine. Yeah, finally this is it. It's like the fourth take or so, and I'm really happy that it works and that I get to show it. So thanks for watching, and bye bye.